Hi, Gene Burnett from geneburnett.com. Invest in loss. If you're a Tai Chi student, you have probably heard that expression, invest in loss. I don't know who said this, or if anyone did, or if it's just a mistranslation. Some say Cheng Mei-ching said it, some say he did not. I don't care who said it. I don't care who said anything. The only thing that matters to me is when I listen to what they say and apply it to my own life and my own practice, does this work? Does this work for me? Does this speak to me? Does it resonate? Does it improve my life, move me closer to my training goals? Just because an authority said something is not why I do things. Because I'm a maverick man, I'm born to be wild. I'm a freestylist. That's what I do. I respect tradition, but I pressure test it in my own life to see if it advances my training goals. And if it does, that's what I tell people. This has helped me with my training goals, and maybe it'll help you with yours. I don't dogmatize it and say this is the true way because it works for me. So I'm sharing with you today what that phrase means to me, not what it means or the truth of it, or what it really means. I'm not dogmatic. There's so much dogma in the internal arts, Tai Chi world that it makes me wish I had studied something else, to be honest with you. It is such a freaking mess. But setting that aside, I'm trying to fight the good fight. I'm going the other direction. I just tell you what works for me and what makes me better at what I want to do, and I share that, and if it's useful to you too, great. So what if it doesn't match some dogma? So what if it isn't the truth according to Master Ho-Ho? So here we go. I don't know who said it, but I find it a very valuable concept, at least as I understand it. So I take it to mean that in order to advance skills at anything, not just Tai Chi or boxing or martial arts, to the next level, the level that you're not at yet, the level that's unattainable right now, but you're going for that next level, you have to lose your previous confidence and whatever ego attachment you had to your previous level. You have to give that up a little bit, right? Now, I learned this metaphor or example from, I think it was my brother Allison who told me about this, and it's a great metaphor for this. It's about pool, the game pool. I don't play pool, but it's a great example of this. So, when you get good at pool, the first thing you learn is how to make shots. The cue ball's here, the ball you want to get in the pocket is over there. You bang you learn how to get those shots, learn how to get that ball in the pocket you want it to go in, right? So that's what you get good at, and you get really good at making all kinds of shots. And you feel pretty cocky and you feel pretty good about being able to make a bunch of shots. But you will never progress to the next level until you start thinking about where the cue ball is going to be after you make the shot. So you start trying to position the cue in a good place to set up your next shot. And what happens there is that you start missing shots. You start losing. Because if you just go to bang that ball in and don't care where the cue ball goes, that's a lot easier than setting it up so that the cue ball rolls with enough force and enough spin or whatever to knock that ball in and end up in a place where you want it to be to set up your next shot. That's what the pros do, and it's difficult, and it's much harder than just banging in shots. So you have to invest in the loss of your previous identity as someone who makes a lot of shots, and you even have to lose more games in order to develop the skills that'll take you to the next level. And so on. If you get attached to yourself as someone who wins a certain number of games or gets a certain number of shots in, and you aren't willing to go past that, you're going to be stuck at that level. And if you hang out with people who are at that level or lower, you're going to feel like hot shit, and great, have fun. Life is short, man. Anything that makes you feel good is probably not so bad. But if you want to go to the next level, it means you have to lose. You have to lose the image of yourself as the winner you were at that previous level, and you have to literally lose more games or lose more points or lose more, miss the mark more. You miss the mark when you're aiming for a higher level. So what that means to me in Tai Chi is not to get attached to any particular attainment, but to always be ready to listen to the next thing and find out where my weaknesses are. This is something that I think is really misunderstood about the concept of pressure testing. The idea behind pressure testing is not to just to apply pressure. Yes, when you apply pressure to something, that is technically pressure testing. But the real value of pressure testing, where pressure testing is really useful, is that you pressure test the system you're testing to the point of failure. The idea is to fail so that your weaknesses are revealed. If you're pressure testing a bridge, sure, put 2 tons of weight on the bridge. That's a pressure test. But if you really want to learn something about that bridge, you put pressure on that bridge until it starts to fail, or it just shows the signs of stress. Then you go, that's where its weakness is, right? Right? So when you apply pressure to your own Tai Chi, for instance, that may be, if you're doing partner work, less compliant partners, someone coming at you a little bit harder with a little bit less niceness or caretaking for you. It may come from just listening more carefully to your movements and applying a higher standard to your movements. It might be a new posture correction where you just think of a new alignment, a new way of paying attention to your posture and your alignment that's harder, that's a new level. It can be doing things blindfolded. It can be standing on one leg to test your balance, see how long you can stand on one leg, where does it fail, and how does it fail. So when you pressure test things, you're looking for failure, not success. So people say, oh, I pressure tested it. He came at me and I dealt with him. Well, okay, you got a little pressure and you dealt with it. Pressure test yourself to the point of failure. That's when you start learning. That's not when you just get a shot in the arm about the current level you're at. It's the level, that's the point where you start to see what the next level might look like, right? So when you pressure test stuff, you'll start to notice, especially if you really do it to the point of failure, you have to invest in loss. Failure is a loss. It's investing in failing, getting to the point where it doesn't work. The thing you want to do doesn't work. And you go, what do I need to do to make it work? How do I fix it? What do I address? So that is what invest in loss means to me. It means don't be attached to your current level. Don't be attached to any shape that you're in right now. Be willing to lose that if the next level is either unavoidable or better. So if you're holding on to your previous thing, I used to be able to do a backflip, so what? If you can't do one now, lose the conception of yourself as someone who can do a backflip. That's gone. Be what you are now, and you will be more complete, and you'll be a happier, more whole person, and more useful in the world. So invest in loss. Be willing to let go of the way and the things you have now, and embrace what's inevitable or what you want, that next level that's coming. And I think you'll be better off for it, regardless of who said it, right? Doesn't matter who said it. Everything's been said a million times. There's nothing original. But sometimes someone says something in a certain way and it gets attached to them and all the significance, and everyone argues about it like Bible scholars, and it's just something somebody said that a whole bunch of other people said. I'm sure there's a concept of invest in loss in every language on earth, because there's always somebody who's not getting better because they're holding on to the old way of doing things. So that's my opinion on it. So I'd love to hear yours. This is just a free YouTube video. I post these to be helpful. If you want to help me out, I've got a little tip jar down there, and I've got a little digital tip jar over at my website, teamburnett.com. Not expected or necessary for me to get tips. It's just nice to keep myself, helps me keep going. But I don't do this for tips. I do this for to be helpful. Honestly, this stuff works for me, and I hope it works for you. So a comment that something has been helpful to you is worth as much as money to me. So you take care, and I'll see you next time.